This is Nigeria Today. We'll begin in Borno State, where the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has stressed the need to invest in the future in education, health and safety. He made this charge at the site of a visit to Maiduguri, where he met with Governor Babangida Zulum. The United Nations Secretary General is on a two-day mission to Nigeria, which is also his first time in the country. Antonio Guterres also visited the Gubbio IDP camp, where he interacted with the internally displaced persons. He also reiterates the need to ensure the people are reintegrated. The UN chief will also evaluate the impact of climate change on vulnerable communities and assess progress made, as well as the challenges to the COVID-19 recovery. He's to head to Abuja to meet with President Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, as well as other top cabinet officials. And Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has charged the church to use its influence of inspiring social morals to speak against violent non-state actors. He said this at the opening session of the 4th General Assembly of the Reunion of Episcopal Conferences of West Africa. Moyo Thomas reports.
The social, economic and security challenges in different parts of the West African sub-region have become daily items in the news around the world. These challenges are further deepened by the threats to democracy in the region. Making concerted efforts to overcome these challenges is imperative in order to achieve sustainable peace. Nigeria's Vice President, who is a special guest at the meeting of all bishops of the Catholic Church, acknowledges the important roles faith-based institutions can play in overcoming these challenges.
By offering concrete prescriptions on building brotherhood and sustainable peace anywhere, the encyclical Fratelli Tutti rightly takes the position that it is not merely the business of governments and political institutions to find means of securing peace. It must also be anchored on our civil societies, of which our faith communities are an important constituency.
The meeting highlights the reasons these challenges are so deep-rooted, which is the lack of brotherhood and love amongst members of the community. Speakers charged the church to shun tribalism, rather preach love and acceptance.
We have to keep in mind, especially inside the church, collaboration and distinction. Because the problem is when we cannot make distinction between a political leader and a religious leader.
So only through a penitential memory based on truth, justice, and forgiveness will we build our human family on social friendship, universal brotherhood and sisterhood.
Leaders of the region must therefore use political power to create good governance, rather than for personal advancement or to allow religious, ethnic, economic or political interests to subordinate the common good.
The week-long meeting had in attendance bishops from the 15 member states of ECOWAS, governors, ministers and the secretary to the state government, Boss Mustafa. This Bishop Summit has once again been a wake-up call not only to Nigeria, but the whole of the West African region on the importance of brotherhood in achieving peace and national development. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
To the war against insurgency, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has given a marching order to troops of Operation Hadirin Daji operating in the northwest region to eliminate terrorists and other criminals operating in the region. The Army Chief gave the order after lunch with troops in Isa local government area of Sokoto State as part of activities to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr with them. This was shortly after he laid the foundation stone of the Nigerian Army Forward Base. Lieutenant General Yahya says he will not be satisfied if the troops fail to eliminate terrorists from their hideout and destroy their weapons to restore peace in the troubled area. The Chief of Army Staff says the Forward Base operating base is also aimed at increasing the presence of men and equipment close to the area of operation with the goal of eliminating the criminal elements disturbing the peace of the nation.
From all of you is to neutralize more of these terrorists more of these bandits, more of these kidnappers, more of these violent criminals across the gamut of our country that are not satisfied for you to bring them until we completely defeat and eliminate this monster of insecurity, be it by terrorists or insurgents, be it by bandits or kidnappers or other violent criminals, anywhere they are.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, has ensured an effective upgrade and relaunch of the Nigeria Police Crime and Incident Database Center. This, he says, will aid in providing additional aid to police operatives in acquiring credible electronic criminal database to support investigations and strategic operational and tactical planning. This will further facilitate easy identification of suspects, crime location, modus operandi, global positioning system to geolocate crimes, among others. The IGP has also mandated the comprehensive training of dedicated police personnel who would man the systems across zonal, state and divisional headquarters. The IGP emphasized that these developments are in line with his policing agenda to incorporate the application of cutting-edge technology and intelligence-led policing model to operational and investigation functions. Operatives of the AMOTEKUN Corps in ONDO State have arrested 37 suspected criminals in a joint patrol with officers from the 32 Artillery Brigade in the state. Parading the suspects before journalists, the state commander of AMOTEKUN, Adetunji Adeleye, said the suspects were arraigned for offenses including kidnapping, armed robbery, internet fraud, contravention of anti-open grazing laws, among others. He also noted that the Corps is working with other security agencies to make the state unsafe for criminals.
Men of the 32 Artillery Brigade for their support. I want to commend the Nigerian Police Force Ondo State Command. I want to commend the NSCDC Ondo State and of course the Department of State Services for their support in ensuring that the entire holiday is crime-free. We recorded a number of criminal activities inclusive of kidnap at the border towns of Ondo State. But as we talk, because of the heat on these kidnappers.
In other matters, Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Oboye Oyeyemi, has appealed to officers of the Corps to be more committed in ensuring that road crashes are reduced to the barest minimum on the Nigerian roads. Mr. Oyeyemi was speaking in Osogbo at the pulling out parade for the zonal commanding officer in charge of Osun, Oyo, and Ondo states. We have details in this report.
The event was organized in honor of Assistant Corps Marshal Emmanuel Omotoshoabi, who has served his country meritoriously. Dignitaries from far and near, including serving and retired officers of the Federal Road Safety Corps and other sister agencies, are here to celebrate a man whom they described as an outstanding professional. The Corps Marshal of the FRSC, who was represented at the pulling out parade, urged officers of the Corps to put in their best in their service to the country.
That commitment for him. He was a committed officer. He was a hard-working officer. And I don't want it to just go that way. I want the upcoming officers to emulate him in his commitment. He was a very gentleman. Or he is a very gentleman. So now that he's retired, he should actually make out time to fill in the gap he created while serving his nation. Be close to his family, be close to God.
In his valedictory address, retired Assistant Corps Marshal Emmanuel Abi encouraged the personnel of the FRSC to uphold the core value of the Corps. He also appealed to the federal government to invest more in the operations of the Corps to reduce the rate of attacks on its personnel.
I had tales of people, of motorists knocking down our staff on the highway. You see, we've seen a situation whereby they called us that there was a problem somewhere. Our people moved there. On getting there, they started shooting them. So I want government to do more things on this so that their life can be protected.
You have so much time now. Nobody's going to tell you, it's time for work, it's time to close, or you have to submit this assignment, you have to do this. time is in your hands, and you have to master the time.
I feel good because a long time we have stayed together, but now we are going to stay together and enjoy our life together.
Emmanuel Abi joined the FRSC in 1996 and was until his retirement the zonal commander of RS 11.1 Osogbo. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
You're watching Nigeria Today. Today is World Press Freedom Day, and it's a day to press onto the consciousness of citizens the importance of ensuring the impartiality of the media is not violated. In the face of harassment and attacks on media personnel, this year, the Nigeria Union of Journalists is advocating more protection for journalists in the discharge of their duty. Mariam Mohammed reports.
Every year, the World Press Freedom Day is celebrated to commemorate journalists and highlight the difficulties they face in reporting the truth. This year's theme, Journalism Under Siege, brings to focus how governments of various countries now use technological surveillance to monitor and impact freedom of expression. The freedom of expression and right to privacy are among human rights most impacted by digital transformation. In 2021, the Nigerian government, in its bid to control media, allocated 4.8 billion naira to the National Intelligence Agency to monitor WhatsApp messages, phone calls and texts. This raised a lot of concerns amongst journalists who would at times need to protect their sources of information. Another area of contention among journalists are the restrictions placed on information they can access from federal ministries, departments and agencies. The signing of Freedom of Information Act into law has done little to remove obstacles to how much information journalists can obtain from government. Beyond this, journalists find themselves increasingly at loggerheads with authority figures over their efforts to be the watchdogs of government as stipulated by the 1999 Constitution as amended. It has resulted in legal entanglement for journalists, often accused of libel and often detained for times on end or even jailed. Unfortunately, many citizens often do not appreciate the sacrifices made by media in bringing the truth to light. There are those who insist journalists have lost their way and have become increasingly mercenary and willing to sweep the truth under the carpet in return for the brown envelope. These Nigerians think journalism in the country has been compromised, and it is not surprising that journalism come under physical attack from citizens as a result of this. Emmanuel Obeche is the chairman Nigerian Union of Journalists, Abuja chapter. He further enumerates challenges journalists face in Nigeria. He wants Nigerians to know journalists still play their role in holding governments accountable and urge support by the authorities at all levels in order for them to thrive. He also implored journalists to work as professionals who has the interests of the nation at heart.
When journalists operate in an atmosphere of fear, harassment, intimidation, arrest, and detention, democracy suffers, human rights suffers, good governance suffers. That is why there is need for government to provide a conducive environment for journalists and media workers to practice their craft.
The real ethic of journalists, being the watchdog of the public, is no longer there today. You hardly see a media house now that I don't know whether it is because of the harassment from the government that will say the truth even on the live program.
They give us the news nice, like maybe they have paid them before they come on air. But sometimes when they see the facts, they will do it in their own to please the government and themselves.
Other Nigerians express satisfaction with Nigerian journalists, believing they still stand in the gap to ensure government institutions and indeed society as a whole does not act with total impunity.
I think that yes, they are actually doing their job, because things are happening around us and they've not shied away from, presenting those stories the way they are. To some extent, I think they are holding the government accountable for all their actions.
In order to maintain the core value of journalism, journalists are advised to always provide credible information, no matter the situation. Mary Mohammed, TVC News, Abuja.
And to electoral matters, the People's Democratic Party's appeal panel for ward congresses in Edo State has assured all aggrieved members of fair hearing, stressing that the party is committed to having a united front in the forthcoming election. This was made known by chairman of the committees during a press briefing at the party secretariat in Benin City. The committee was set up by the National Working Committee of the party to look into the just concluded ward ad hoc Congress screening of National and State Assemblies aspirants and to consider appeals arising from the conduct of the congresses.
Appeal panel of PDP for Edo states that are here today to interact with any perceived aggrieved individual following the ad hoc delegates election conducted on Saturday that has any issue of any sort, any complaints of any kind as a consequence of that election, to approach this appeal panel to look at his matter or her matter.
As National Assembly Appeals Panel Screening Committee, our job arises from what has been done before we came here, so we have to work on their reports. And from the reports we have seen so far, there is no appeal. We have not received any one appeal from National Assembly. That means we have a picture of the togetherness of the party and the harmony of the party. So
we are here primarily to consider petitions arising from the screening exercise conducted on April 27th. We are yet to consider any petitions. While we are here, we'll do our best to ensure that the exercise is seamless.
A non-partisan group concerned Nigeria citizens has lent its voice to calls for President of Southern extraction. At a news briefing in Abuja, the group argued that it's aware that while power is not given, calls for a power shift are in line with preserving the unity and peaceful coexistence of Nigeria. Abdullah reports.
The federal character principle was introduced not only to appease the ethnic nationalities, but to promote national cohesion and a sense of belonging for citizens from all parts of the country. While the federal character is entrenched in the 1999 Constitution as amended, zoning is not. Although zoning may have emerged as a product of necessity, it represents in its expediency a response to nation building. This civil society group is projecting the call for a power shift to the southern part of the country.
We thus urge all political parties to follow what will retain the unity of the country and zone presidency to the southern states. Come 2023, parties should stop playing politics with the people of Nigeria. The country is overwhelmed with myriads of problems, ranging from insecurity, banditry, terrorism, decayed infrastructure, etc. We must not compound the woes of the country once again.
It is premised on the principles of equity, fairness, and justice. And the rotational arrangement is not just a wish of the incumbent political class, that is the APC, PDP, or whatever, which they may choose to respect or not. It is the wishes of Nigerians who, of course, have struggled to make this democracy work. We should all note that what gave birth to the geopolitical zone structures that we have in this country today, which is enshrined in our federal character principle, is the need for equity and fairness in the country.
There were strong indications that the presidency would be zoned to the southern part of the country a few months ago. But the body language of the two political parties in recent times seems to suggest they are considering an open contest for all. Despite its many advantages as regards nation building, zoning remains a contested arrangement in Nigerian politics. Habib Alawal, TVC News, Abuja.
And members of the All Progressives Congress across the Southwest have endorsed Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president by signing his nomination form in Lagos. The party members in the state also signed the nomination form of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to endorse him for his second term in office. Correspondent Ademola Lawrence reports.
According to Article 20, subsection 4E of the Constitution of the All Progressive Congress, APC, the National Working Committee, NWC, can make rules for nominations of candidates for the party in all electoral contests from councillorship to presidency. As a result of these, every presidential aspirant must have 420 registered members to sign on his nomination form, while 300 registered party members must do same for the governorship aspirants. For the ruling APC, more than 10 aspirants have declared interest to contest for the highest political office in the country. But for these party members, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu remains the best choice. As a result of these, some APC leaders from the southwest converged in Lagos to sign the presidential nomination form of Tinubu. For these party leaders, Tinubu's achievements in government and politics stands him out as the best candidate for the party.
Indication that the intention is supported by members of the party, legitimate members of the party.
We're getting few to Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and all of them from all the states have come here to sign. And we're moving into Abuja tomorrow.
The significance of today, signing here is to show you. You can see, over 40 of us came from Ekiti, only 10 signed. It's just to tell you that the man is loved everywhere.
We came all the way from ONDO State to show, to sign, and to help in the process.
If we don't believe in Asiwaju, we won't initiate all the moves we have initiated.
In addition, 300 registered party leaders and members also endorsed Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for second term in office, saying he has performed well.
The importance of this is that 300 members must sign, and when they sign like that, it's like they are taking ownership of the election process.
From the beginning, and I'm happy that I'm hale and hearty and I'm alive to see him on his journey to the second term.
For many here, the 2023 elections will be a turning point for the country, and the people must vote wisely to have a greater Nigeria for all. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Lagos.
In other news, the federal government has been urged to prioritize education and other key sectors in the development of infrastructure to stimulate innovation, especially in the tertiary institutions. Governor of Delta State Ifeanyi Okowa spoke while inspecting ongoing construction work at the Faculty of Engineering in the new University of Delta, Agbo. Ikinamichi reports.
Though the institution has kicked off academic activities with the admission of over 2,000 students, some faculties are lacking infrastructure. The students who are in their first session are presently sharing facilities here at the main campus, but the state government is constructing buildings for some faculties. Governor Okowa is today inspecting ongoing works at the faculties of Engineering and Environmental Sciences in Owa Alero, Ika North-East local government area.
What we're seeing there is the various facilities that will be required to enable a full takeoff. Yes, some of the classrooms are ready. The various other projects, the library, the workshop, and other things that are nearing completion, and we hope that very soon we'll be able to complete that. And looking at my back, we have some of the engineering equipments already supplied, and I'm hoping that the completion of the workshops and the studio, then we'll be able to get these equipment installed.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities Industrial Action has stretched for more than 8 weeks, and investment in education seem over the years to be on a steady decline. For Governor Okowa, the federal government should prioritize education to enhance human capital development.
We need to invest more funds in education. There's no doubt about that. More funds in terms of infrastructure, more funds in terms of human resource, more funds in terms of equipment that is needed. In the individual sectors, education, health, you have very huge funds available for recurrent because of payment of salaries. At the end, you only have between 10 to 15, at the maximum 20% for capital development. That in itself is a very huge problem. but can they do a little more? The question is, we have to find a way to reprioritize. We have to find a way to generate more revenue.
The Delta State Governor, who recently established 3 new universities with the approval of the National Universities Commission, says he is committed to ensuring that before the end of his administration, the new schools will be adequately equipped with basic infrastructure. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Owalero, Delta State.
And that's Nigeria Today. I'll be back at 10 p.m. with a more comprehensive bulletin. Stay with us.